everybody, AJ Ryzik here, and doing a little bit of a follow-up here on Elementary OS. I've been using it about a month now, both on desktop and on the laptop. Just want to let everybody know the good, the bad, the ugly, all that kind of stuff, all the tweaks that I've done, what I've added, what I've changed, all that kind of good stuff. Looking at the desktop, you can see that it does not look stock anymore. Not that I have any complaints with the look of Elementary OS. They probably have one of the best, if not the best, out-of-the-box looks of any distribution that I've seen. But I'm the kind of person that I cannot leave well enough alone. I've got to play with it, move stuff around, change the appearance to my preferences. That's just the way that I am. Let me go and pull up the settings manager, and it'll help as I kind of walk through what I've done here. One of the first things I did was go and add the Elementary OS community repositories, which allowed me to add some third-party applications and software. Number one on that list is their tweaking tool. It allows you to make little changes and make it easier to add, like themes and icons and all that kind of stuff. So let me pull that tweak tool up, and you can see what we got here. Under appearance, here's where you can change like your GTK theme icons, cursor, the button layout, all that kind of stuff. Let me start with the button layout. I changed it to what they call Windows, which gives you the traditional close, minimize, or a close button, then a minimize button, and then in the center a full screen or small screen view of the window. The stock Elementary is just the single button there. Now you can go and do a close only, a minimize left, minimize right. OS X throws it over on the left hand side. You can do a custom layout, but I like it in the right hand side. Not as much because I want to mimic Windows, as it is more that I've been using that same layout for the past 20 years, and old habits die hard. What more can I say about that? For my icons, I'm using an Elementary tweaked version of the Numix U Touch. As you can see, I downloaded a bunch of different ones so I could try different ones, see what I like, and this was the one that I liked the most. None of them that were bad. Even the stock Elementary icons, they're not bad. They weren't my favorite look, but this is one of those personalization things that the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So download a few and see what looks good to you. Same thing with your GTK themes. I stayed with the stock Elementary. There were a few that I downloaded. Once again, none of them were bad, but none of them I liked better. The one that I did like better was this Elementary Dark, but I ran into problems. As you can see, it makes everything dark, which I like that look. The problem is that certain pieces of software, you can't hardly see your text and things like that. Now probably you could go into those pieces of software and tweak them so that you could see your icons, text, all that kind of stuff. But I was just like, what, the original theme looks pretty good as it is. Let's just stick with that. Let me pull it up, and LibreOffice was one of the places where I saw it, and let me pull it up here. You can see very dark, and looking at the your icons, you know, it's, yeah, they're a little lighter, and yeah, I probably could go in there and tweak it so that you would be able to read it, but I'd just stick with the standard elementary theme. Those of you that have eyes that are a bit younger than mine may not have trouble seeing that, but yeah, my eyes aren't what they used to be. Let's just leave it at that. So let me put those themes back to where they were. Okay, so anyway, there's that. That is that. Here you can change your fonts, and I downloaded a bunch of fonts just because I've got a pretty big inventory of fonts that I use for my different writing projects, that sort of thing. So I went with one, you know, that I like. These once again, the stock font was not bad, but you know, I really like the Benjamin Gothic font. And it's so easy to change here. Your fonts. I mean, you can go in here and you can either scroll through the list, you know, or, you know, if you know the name, you know, it'll start pulling it up for you. There's that Benjamin Gothic that I like, and then you can change, you know, your font size too. Animations, you can change the durations of your different window animations. I did not touch a thing here. Same with the shadows. To me, all those are fine. Just let them be. You can add a bunch of shortcuts here. Something that I really didn't get to, but you know, I know a lot of people that just like to hotkey the heck out of their keyboard. This will allow you to do that. Miscellaneous. Oh, this is like you know, you want to double click, single click, you know, natural scrolling, overlay scroll bars, that sort of thing. Down here, the applications for Plank, which is your that's your taskbar over here. There's different themes that you can load. I'm using what they call the transparent themes. If you are running multiple monitors, which is what I'm doing here, you can pick which monitor you want Plank to show up on. Do you want it left, right, center, bottom, all that kind of stuff? You can tweak all that kind of stuff for Plank. Tweaks for your file manager, your search indicator, you know, all that kind of stuff. Wing panel swim. Okay, this is and this is one of those pieces of third-party software. As you can see, my top bar is no longer a single bar all the way across. It's got, I don't know how you want to describe it, these little wing shape thingamajigs that are down right now. That is, you know, that's what this slim wing panel activation is right here. And you know, different settings you can do for it, where you want left, right, middle, all that kind of stuff. Do you want slanted, curved, all that kind of stuff. Like there's the curved, squared. I like the slanted, so I just leave it that way. You can do an auto hide so that it'll automatically hide when you're not using it, and then pop down when you do. You know, that's one of those you know, whatever works for you kind of things. So anyway, those are some of the tweaks there. Another thing that I added from those repositories is, you see this little magnifying glass up here. If you click right there, what that is, it is a front end for Synapse. If you're not familiar with Synapse, it works kind of like the Unity search on the Ubuntu Unity Dash. If you've used Gnome, it is similar to Gnome, so it allows you to search for files, applications, whatever. Like here, if I want to pull up LibreOffice, I'll just start typing Libre, and you can see it pops up not only the programs, but files that have that name in it, that sort of thing. You can also hotkey it so that you don't have to use your mouse and that sort of thing. But now it's up there if you're a mouse user kind of thing. So those are some of the stuff from those third-party repositories that I added. What else did I do here? LibreOffice, that was kind of a no-brainer. Elementary does not come with a Office suite. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because while I like LibreOffice, other people may not want to work with that. Somebody may want to go with something lightweight like Abby Word, Gene Numeric for their for spreadsheets. So I mean, you can go and add whatever it is you want. It's just that nothing comes straight out of the box. So I added that. I added here. Let me just drop down the and I'll start at the top. The Quake terminal, that's a drop-down terminal. I think I talked about that in the earlier video. Obviously the Synapse for doing the searches. Oh, of course, I added GIMP because that's where I do most of my when I make up the beginning, what do you want to call it, entry dialogue or title bar for my videos, that I make those in GIMP. Although I've started playing around with Blender, I may start doing them in Blender so I can do some animations on those, but that's where I do that. So I added that. I added a couple other browsers. Midori, which is the stock browser that comes with it, I was having trouble with Flash on Midori, and some websites it just wouldn't access the website. So I added the Chromium and Chrome. Been playing around with a couple of others. I wanted to download Firefox since the new version was out. I want to see what that was all about. Quibzilla, I was playing around with that too, but really I'm a Google Chromium kind of person on the internet, so that's mainly what I'm using. Let's see what else we got here. Of course, I already talked about LibreOffice. What? Handbrake is what I've been using for. I've been working on making up a video library, moving DVDs onto my hard drive so that we can do a media center here in my home. So that's what I'm using Handbrake for. Never used Handbrake. Definitely give it a try out for converting formats on DVDs and Blu-rays, or like I was talking about, making yourself a home entertainment center where you've got all of your movies on a hard drive. Great piece of software for that. Kdenlive is what I use for doing my videos, for doing the video editing, and I'll probably do an upcoming video on using Kdenlive, because I had a couple people drop me emails about how I do up the videos. That's what I use. Very nice piece of software for it. There's other easier to use video editors out there, but none of them have the at least none of the open source software, at least none of them have the kind of functionality that Kdenlive have, at least from what I've seen. Simple screen recorder. That's what I'm using to record the screen on this video right now. VLC music or media player. Mainly I downloaded that just so I could compare and contrast to Elementary stock movie player, and really from what I'm seeing, there's not an advantage of switching to VLC. Maybe there is something somewhere, but if you're just using it for watching movies, videos, that sort of thing, the stock player is just fine. System tools update. What did I? Oh, the stock software center on here. I don't know whether it is the stock Ubuntu software center or a derivative of it or Elementary's own creation, but it is as much of a dog as Ubuntu's is. Like I said, I don't know if it's the same one. It looks like the same one. It's slow. It lags. It hangs up. That is probably my biggest beef with Elementary is that software center. I added the Ubuntu software center, and let me click on this thing, pull it up. And it does take a second to load, but once it's up and running, and which is like, it only took a couple of seconds, it is so much snappier. When downloading software, I just to try it, I picked like 7-8 things to download and then started downloading it. Never skipped a beat. Whereas like the Ubuntu Center, it has a tendency that if you've got a bunch of packages that you're downloading, it gets slower and slower, and it'll hang up, it'll freeze, all that kind of stuff. None of that with the Ubuntu Center. So that's one option for a better software center. Another one, there's one called AppGrid. That it's pretty good. It's faster and even lighter than the Ubuntu Center, but I think it still needs some development. It's I guess you could say it's half baked right now. So it's as far as downloading packages and the software and all that and finding other software, it was good. But some of the features you get here, like where you can go and see, you've got this little view right here of a screenshot, that sort of thing. You could see in AppGrid that there was a spot for the screenshot, but it wasn't always showing up. So I'm not sure what that was about, but like I said, it's an early version of that piece of software. I'm hoping that as time rolls down, that thing will get improved, because it's a light piece of software, fast. I think it would be a great addition once they get some of those kinks worked out. Okay. That's most of the changes that I made. I think that pretty much covers all that. So my overall impressions: good piece of software. I have had, or a good distribution. I've had no problems running this on my desktop. Everything worked great. No problems whatsoever. Now on my laptop, it was a little different story. Everything seemed to be working great at first. And then I noticed that it would occasionally freeze up. Everything would just lock up, and I'd wait and see, maybe it, just last a few seconds. No, it froze up and it stayed froze. I'd have to go and unplug it, pull the battery, and do a cold reboot that way, which I don't really like doing that to a computer if at all possible. And at first, I thought it was a piece of software that I was using because I was using a piece of beta software. Well, then I uninstalled that off of the laptop, and then I noticed I had that happen on other pieces of software. It was never the same piece, so it wasn't a piece of software that I was having trouble with. it was elementary itself. After doing a little digging online, I found other people that were having the problem, and they reported that by updating to a newer version of the Linux kernel that they solved that problem. I have yet to try that, so I don't know whether that works or not. And to be quite honest, I am such a distro hopper, wanting to try out what's new and all that sort of thing, that I'm probably going to take that time to switch to a different OS on the laptop. Probably going to take a look at Ubuntu 14.04 or maybe the Ubuntu 14.04 or one of the new distributions based on Ubuntu 14.04. Just because, like I said, I like to try out all those new distributions when they come out. Other than that, my only other issue with Elementary Luna is that since it is based on Ubuntu 12.04, it's based on a 2-year-old Ubuntu distribution. It's starting to get long in the tooth from the standpoint that newer versions of different pieces of software, unless I download a whole bunch of dependencies, I can't use those newer versions of software. Some of them just simply will not work with that older version of the Ubuntu code base. Some of them, like I said, you got to download a bunch of dependencies. So depending on how you roll, that may or may not be a problem. Some people, the fact that they're not using the latest and greatest version of a specific piece of software, that they don't care. Other people like me, I'm the kind of person, I want the latest release, that sort of thing. So Elementary's not a bad distribution, but I'm just chomping at the bit for the next version of Elementary to come out. Codename I think on it is ISIS, and it'll be based on Ubuntu 14.04. So once again, it's based on another long-term release, which is good. It was a good idea for them to base Luna on a long-term release, but now that like I said, that Ubuntu code base is 2 years old, it's starting to show. So anyway, that about covers everything. Lately, I've been playing around with the Ubuntu Gnome 14.04. Definitely worth taking a look at if you want to see an entirely different spin on a Linux desktop. I'll throw a link up for my review of Ubuntu Gnome. Definitely worth checking out. Comments, questions, all that kind of stuff, please leave them down on the at the bottom of the page there. Also, if you got a request of something that you'd like to see me review, or a tutorial how to do something, drop me a message and I'll get on it. As always, be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with these great videos. And that's it. Have a great day.